Hey everybody! On this episode of Gaming Collecting, Alex is taking the helm this time for an episode discussing Sailor Moon Crystal as she goes over the ups and downs of the series and describes whether or not it was a failure or not. We shall see during the episode. But anyways, guys, on with the show. So how you been?
It's
Very
how I
mature.
think. Crystal Geisler Natural Alpine Spring Water by C.G. Roxanne. It's bottled at the source. It's 50% recycled plastic. Oh, the bottle, not the water. There's no nutritional facts. God damn it. Why do they keep taking the facts off? Bill, everyone cares about my facts. You take that little shitty barcode. I don't have any makeup on, so no one's going to see this podcast. So you're wasting your fucking time. What else? For water quality and information, you can contact the number in an email. It's bottled at the spring source in Colorado. I don't know how to say that. Oh, that doesn't make. I don't know. It's water.
What a way to
It's not
start
my boy
the episode.
Kirky, so I don't really give that big of a shit.
Oh, so it's been a while since we've recorded.
You know, I always bring. Why are you cutting me off? How fucking dare you?
It's been a quite a bit though since we last recorded.
What do you mean? I don't remember that.
Yeah, because it's been like 3 weeks.
Shit.
Yeah, a lot has happened too. Like the entire world, the world went wacky these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it has been pretty bonkers. I haven't really been following all of the stuff that's going on, but I see like images and stuff, and I'll be like, "What the fuck? Like, what's happening?" So,
Yeah,
but what have you been watching? How's life? Like, what's going on?
I've been so tired and just these last couple of weeks have just been brutal on the on getting anything done. It's been
Yeah.
rough.
Well,
I gotta
I
work.
think it's hard, like especially with like you leave work, it's cold. Midday, it's like kind of nice out, and then I mean you go to work cold. Midday while you're at work, it's kind of nice out, and then you leave work and it's like hot. So New England weather, everyone, it sucks. So it's like your body is like trying to adjust to that because you're like going hot, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, and it's just ugh. It's messing us all up. See, I told you this is why we're doing 6 instead of 8:30 because if we did 8:30, I would not make it to
Yeah,
9:30. I'm already
I can't.
dying.
I wouldn't even be able to do it this time, anyways, because I gotta work tomorrow. So
Oh, well, that's good. Bad.
I need the money. That's really about it.
Alright, so then you take it.
Yeah, it's just been everything's been blah lately. Lincoln Park's back. That's a thing, and
Yeah.
that was one of the big. That was literally
Not
one
really
of the.
Linkin Park. I'm just gonna say it's not Linkin Park. It's not.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just Mike Shinoda in this. Not I almost said Holocaust. Damn it. Cult lady, something cult. What was it? What is it called? Isn't it
Scientologist?
I don't know why Holocaust came to my head.
especially considering a number of the band members are Jewish.
Hey, I mean, like the whole Scientology thing in general. Yeah,
Yeah,
to me, I don't really feel bad for them. Like in all honesty, I just don't because like at this point in the world, you have to expect that if you have monsters in your closet, the internet is going to find out about it. If you choose to put yourself out there in the world, I'm sorry, but like you have to prepare for those situations. I just think it's stupid they didn't. Like I don't really feel bad. Like
well,
you should have known this, like this would come out.
That's the thing. The band hasn't even commented on it. Like they've just completely ignored this.
Which I mean, in those long run probably is the best strategy because for the most part, when a celebrity talks about the situation, it usually doesn't go well for them. When they ignore it, people forget and then things go back to normal. So they're probably just going about it the ignore route and they'll probably be fine. But I don't know. To me, like, I listened to it. I mean, Bill made me listen to it and I won't listen to it again. It's not Linkin Park. Sorry. Not in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole situation though literally went from like I've never seen like such an up and down like thing ever. Like people were initially kind of like skeptical, then they kind of liked it, then they immediately the information came out and everyone went, "Oh no." And now it's just complete infighting and it like I saw a great tweet this morning that literally said like I miss the old days when the most controversial thing about Linkin Park was Minutes to Midnight.
Yeah.
Like oh what a time. But yeah, that happened. Dave Grohl cheated on his wife. That was
Yeah, I saw that too.
my favorite jokes were all the jokes about how Best of Me's lyrics are so hilarious now, I've got a confession to make. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the people commenting that was like when they figure out who he cheated on her with, and everyone's like, please, please have their birthday not be in the year, their birth year be in the 2000s. Please don't. So we'll find out eventually. I mean, I'm sorry, but that tends to happen when celebrities cheat. So we'll just hope, I mean, it's gross regardless, but like,
that was such a weird. I saw that headline and I was like, "What the fuck? Like, what is the world? What's going on?" This 2024 is literally the year of like everyone getting outed for the weirdest. Also, Nikocado Avocado is like somehow like on the good side of things recently.
That was like, I mean, great for him, but also how did he like not? I'm not talking about the weight loss. I know how he did the weight loss, but like, how did he record all those videos and not drive himself insane? Like,
Alex,
I would go nuts.
Remember, he's always 2 steps ahead.
So fucking stupid. I'm sorry, but I mean, I'm genuinely happy for him. Like, I'm glad that he's in a healthy.
I've been on the side where like I've always found him fascinating, just because like I've noticed I knew he was. It was all an act pretty much from the start because you could, if you watched closely, you could tell like he was very clearly playing a character. But I loved the fact that he chose the second to announce this reveal was right after 2 other YouTubers put out these big like long hit piece videos that basically were like trashing him and like saying how he ruined his life, and then like the next day he's like, "Surprise, motherfucker!"
Yeah, but you can't. I know, like, we can all feel, like, happy for him, but also don't forget, he did put pictures of his, like, butthole on the internet for everyone to see, and I had to see it, and I didn't want to see it, but I saw it scrolling through Twitter.
We all saw it.
I'm still unhappy about it to this day, so I'm happy that he's healthy, but I didn't want to see that, so fuck you, Nikocado Avocado.
He made fucking millions doing this shit too, which is really funny.
So yeah.
That whole thing just made me laugh so much. I was like, wow. Like, who would have thought, like, 2024 has been one of those years where you're just like, I don't even know what to expect because the world keeps surprising us.
Yeah. Remember there was that brief like period too where they were talking about like, wasn't it like monkeypox or something? Like they were bringing it up as like the next COVID, and I haven't heard anything about it since. So I don't think it's gonna be.
I don't think anyone is gonna bite on that one this time around.
Yeah.
That came and went like in a minute. Oh, one last thing on the Nikocado thing though. Did you know that he had to a lot of people actually could see his weight loss that didn't realize it at the time because he had his Cameo still up for a while, and towards the end before he shut it down, he was like doing all of his like videos like at this angle where like he was like angling his head down to fake the double chin.
Yeah,
he was trying to get as much of it as he could because if you actually look closely, you can tell he's lost a shit ton of weight. It's funny though. It's just what like I I'm always surprised.
I mean, very good, good for him because, I mean, he obviously did it, like, one, I mean, like, what he was doing to himself, with the eating and stuff, like, the mukbangs and stuff, like, and how much weight he had gained. Like, it wasn't the healthiest that he could be, like, you state of being. Like, I'm sure that he would have, like, gotten, if he had continued doing that for many years on, he would probably get very sick at some point just because you're not supposed to, do all that. So I'm happy for him, but I'm still mad about the butthole, and I'll never forgive you, Avocado Avocado. Fuck you.
Yeah, that was a time. Anything else crazy happen recently, or are we pretty much caught up?
The internet's kind of shitting itself, but yeah, I got something. I came home from dance last night.
Oh, right.
I go upstairs. I go to take a shower. I look on the ground. There's a fucking turd on the ground. But the worst part is that it wasn't just a turd on the ground. There's a fucking skid mark on my bath mat. She freaking wiped her ass on my bath mat. I'm still fucking pissed about it. And then I made her look at it. And then she tried to eat it on camera. I was FaceTiming Mom. And I was shaming her with Mom watching it. Then we both see her go in for the and I'm just like,
there's something wrong with that cat.
I'm telling you, the brain cell, it's not there. There is no brain cell. Her brain, it's not there. It's a little rock in there, and it goes bing bong, bing bong. If you listen closely to her running, you can hear it. I swear.
Your cat literally eats everything in sight to the point where she actually considered eating her own.
Eating her own shit, yes.
Well, her name is Pooh, after all.
No, it was just not what I wanted yesterday.
That's the most you thing ever. You try to shame her, and she's like, "Oh,
yum." Like, it was gross. Now she's in the window acting like nothing happened. She's a little shit. Oh, only other thing to talk about too, though, is guess what starts today?
What?
It starts with E. And it ends with E. And it's large.
Oh, the big E.
I believe it starts today, yeah. So get ready tomorrow. Woo-woo! So I would recommend if you're going, if you're going to go grocery shopping tomorrow, I'd bring your grocery bags with you and just stop on the way home. And
that was my plan.
Yep. So, woo. Get prepared to not be able to leave the house.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we've waffled on enough. Let's talk about our... Yeah, waffling.
I want pancakes.
French toast. French toast is where it's at. Let's be real.
Yeah, you're right. Especially, you know what we gotta do? We gotta go to the diner, get diner French toast. Haven't been there in a while. Anyways, let's get on track. Bill, what are we talking about today?
Well, for this episode, this is an Alex topic.
Yeah, fuck you, Will. Get out. It's just me and the Boonsters.
Well, anyways, so for this episode, Alex had brought up the idea because we had recently watched the conclusion to this series. Quite recently. She wanted to talk about her experience with Sailor Moon Crystal.
Yes. And what I like to call the failure of Sailor Moon Crystal. Because it could have been so much more.
I was nicer in the thumbnail. I called it the ups and downs.
You should have called it the failure, because that's really what it was. It was a failure. But yeah, for those who don't know, Sailor Moon is it was originally a manga series, but then it became an anime. But it also is one of the series that kind of was one of the biggest key players in the magical girl genres of like girls that transform into pretty costumes from their daily life to their superheroine life. Like that's
basically female Power Rangers.
Yeah, kind of. Hey, there's females on the Power Rangers, Bill.
But, yeah, that's true. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I was like, what are you saying? But yeah, it was basically one of the series that really is one of the, like, when people think magical girl animes, they think of Sailor Moon. And Sailor Moon is all centered around each magical girl is like a planet. So obviously there's my Sailor Moon and Pluto now. But Sailor Moon, Sailor Venus, Jupiter, Mars, the rest. I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. I'm on the spot. I didn't study planets. I studied math and continuous improvement. Anyways, so yeah, they're all that. So that in the series originally was released in 1992 to 1993.
It's actually newer than I thought it was.
Yeah, at least the anime. And then second season, 1993 to 1994. And the final season, when I'm not going to go through all of them, the final season ended in 1997. So it was when I was born, is when the final season of Sailor Moon came out.
Of course, the dub didn't come out over here until pretty much after that.
Yeah, the dub came out actually premiered in Canada in 1995. And we actually only received in the original series with the 4Kids or DiC dub.
No, it was the DiC/Cloverway dub.
Yeah. So that dub, it only covered up to Sailor Moon Super S. So the series goes Sailor Moon R, Sailor Moon S, Sailor Moon Super S. And then the last one is Sailor Moon Stars. We didn't get Sailor Moon Stars, and we didn't get it for
very clear reasons.
Yes. The series, especially for when it came out at the time, had things that they changed. Obviously, Sailor Uranus and Neptune were lesbians. That's what they were. They were a lesbian couple. And that wasn't okay. And
cousins, this will surely make sense.
At the time, when it came out, they did not consider this okay, which is kind of dumb, but it was a different time. Now it's fine, which is great, which is a good thing about the newest series. But there's bad things about it. And then that was a big thing. But one of the biggest parts of why Sailor Moon Stars did not get animated, it was animated, but did not get released to US audiences was because of the Sailor Starlights, which were these new Sailor Scouts from another universe that ended up being key players. But the hardest thing to grip around them for American audience was that so each of them kind of had their human, regular person identity, and then they had their Sailor Guardian identity. So with Sailor Moon, she's a lady. With the Sailor Starlights, they're men, they're ladies. So men in their civilian form, ladies in their
which let's be real, for late 90s, for late 90s, early 2000s, good luck trying to explain that one, because the world was very different then.
It's really cool looking back on it, especially considering from Japan, they are not okay with a lot of these topics. So for this series to come out when it came out, and for her to put these topics in there and these different relationships and just it was really big of her to do, and kind of risky for her to do too. And it's great that someone was out there kind of doing that and making people feel a little more comfortable in their own skin. But of course, United States, we never got that series for reasons. It's also probably a series too where all the Sailor Scouts die, and also Sailor Moon is just butt naked in the last episode. For the whole episode.
They would have done like they did in the rest of the series, and they would have just edited out all the body lines and just made her a flat pastel color or something.
But still, she was naked.
I get that, but they would have probably just they made her bathe in wine.
Probably would have had her do something, but there was a lot of reasons why they did it. But one thing that I, as a very big fan of the show, this was my favorite show growing up. We would rent the movies all the time. I would rewatch them all the time, and I would watch it when it came out on Toonami.
Toonami sometimes, occasionally Kids WB had it.
Yeah, so I would watch it religiously, and for a long time I never realized. So when they made the original series, they made it like a Monster of the Week show. So each week, they were fighting a different monster. And eventually there'd be some episodes that had like actual plot in it to the story. But for the most part, it was like the Sailor Scouts beat this monster and save someone. Yay! And that's kind of the pattern. Where in the actual manga, yes, that happens sometimes, but there is an actual storyline and plot and not as much of the filler that was most of the series. So Sailor Moon, for their it was for the 20th anniversary. The 20th anniversary of the series, they decided to revamp the series and remake it, but this time making it to the actual manga. So fans were so excited. I remember I was pumped. I was like, oh my God, my childhood is getting life back into it. It was amazing. I was thrilled.
Like a great comparison would be like, say, like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood compared to the original Full Metal Alchemist, the Fruit Baskets 2019 anime compared to the original, the new Rurouni Kenshin anime that's coming out right now compared to the original. It's basically they're going for a truer to text.
Hunter as well. So and it was kind of Sailor Moon Crystal, it probably did help a little bit, because some of those series came out after Sailor Moon Crystal, so it might have helped a little bit, but fans were pumped. Fans were excited. They were like, yes, we're getting a re-adaptation of Sailor Moon, and it's going to be by the manga. This is great. And then the first clips come out, and problem number one comes out immediately. Early CGI 3D animation. You know what I'm talking about. It's either good or it's bad. And at the time, this was, I think, Toei's first dabble into it. I will say they've improved tremendously because Dragon Ball Superhero looked great.
The Trigun anime looked good.
And that was by Studio Orange. So different studio, but for Toei, it was kind of them first dipping their feet into this, and it unfortunately killed a lot of it, and also just the animation errors in general. Season 1 came out very poorly received. I mean, there are so many screenshots, screen caps of just the awful animation. It not even recoverable, just there's one, I have a couple on screen right now. There's one of Sailor Moon, she's bent over and her arms are almost longer than her legs. And her torso, her face, if you pause the original one, oh my, you're gonna see some shit. It's bad. So the terrible animation really started off on a bad foot. And they only did the 3D animation for the first season. But at this point, so many fans were just done. They were just you fucked up. That the hype went down and everyone was kind of calling it shit. You know how there's those famous screenshots of what is it? That one, it's on Netflix. I can't remember what it's called. 7 Deadly Sins.
Yes.
And how everyone remembers it. Now they think of that terrible screenshot Meliodas where he's his body just looks awful. That's what everyone thought of it. And it was just kind of a really much a letdown for the fans. We were just so disappointed. And they did end up actually going back and reanimating most of season 1. It was kind of the Sonic effect, I like to say, where they were kind of bullied into fixing it because it was so terrible. So they took out most of this CG and they fixed a lot of the designs, because a lot of it too was they were kind of trying to almost change the character designs.
They were very stylized.
They were very stylized, and they said, nope, all right, we know what you want. We just want to update it, make it prettier. Let's do it. So following season 1, season 2, we had season 1, 2, and 3 were all animated as traditional series. So that would be Sailor Moon, the original, Sailor Moon R, and Sailor Moon S. So all 3 of those series got their own new animated series. And
Also, we should note the this time around they actually got a more modern dubbing studio in the form of Viz, and I believe they got the California studio. I don't know which one exactly, but they got some pretty professional actors, like some very well-known anime actors, and the dub is very good. It is because they also redubbed the original series, and it is very good, but it is also really weird, like listening to these
it
voices.
is like kind of jarring for like people who originally watched the series, and too, like, I mean, the original series had silly names like Darian and Serena.
Darian
weren't their names, like that wasn't their names. So
also the censorship, like editing out the body lines, like anything.
Stuff like that. But that was more of the American, like not really the traditional anime. But season 1 to season 3 all had their own series, and it was actually really cool going and watching them once they fixed the animation of season 1, because like there was so much that was different that I was like, what? Like season 1, so some of your enemies are brain farting on their names, but they are part of the Dark Kingdom, and each of the Dark Kingdom had like the four kings of heaven, which were Prince Endymion, Tuxedo Maxes, loyal knights of Earth. And in the original series, they're just these villains that work for the evil queen. But in the manga, they were actually all former love interests of the Sailor Scout. No, but like,
I know.
the whole story is like the Sailor Scouts were living on the moon before, and then there was the attack of the Dark Kingdom, and then they were reincarnated on Earth. So when their significant others were reincarnated, like they forgot. But then at one point, like, so when they finally get their memories back, of course, guess what's happened? All of them are fucking dead. They're all dying. So they're all sad and they all cry over it. But it's like, it's interesting, like the story that you didn't get to see, because in the original anime too, two of the what are they? The four kings actually were a gay couple, and they did the same thing of like they made them just really good friends in the original.
They're just really good friends.
And then in the anime, it was like they actually say, because I went back and rewatched it recently, they actually say, "Oh, I love you," as like one of them is dying. And it's,
I mean,
like,
to be fair, that's better than cousins. Because oh god, that leads to so many weird things.
Friends. Or actually, no, I lied. It wasn't that. So they made one of them was kind of feminine looking. So they actually made him. They just said he was a girl.
They so like the fish
so
eye
it
thing
was a
later on.
romance. Yeah, I forgot. It was that. So
that's worse. Never mind.
But that's like, there was so much of like, just because really the only fights that they had in this series was just the fights that led to the Sailor Scouts being awakened and joining Usagi in her, journey. Because the original series, they're trying to find the legendary silver crystal. So some of the stuff was the same, but still like really different. So it was cool watching it once they got rid of the shitty animation.
Well, I remember at one point, like, because I was following some of the discourse around the show because I knew you were watching it, so I was kind of just curious.
Yeah.
And I remember my favorite complaints were always like the obvious anime only people who were complaining that it wasn't like the original series.
Yeah.
Because they'd never read the manga.
Well, yeah, but the truth is that like it wasn't like that wasn't how it was supposed to be.
Oh yeah, the characterizations in the original series are so hilariously wrong when you actually know the source material.
And also, like, I think I was reading somewhere that like a lot of it too was against the creators' kind of wishes, but they did it for like better TV and better ratings. So it's like a battle of like, I guess they made the right choice because it was super successful, is still successful to this day. But at the same time, like when you watch this series, you're like, wow, like it's a very different story.
Like I still think Rei is by far the most different character because she's nothing like she was in the original series.
Well, Rei and Minako, Sailor Venus, like also because Sailor Venus, like in at least the first season, like well, that's one thing too. So like in the first season, they actually so they're trying to find the Moon Princess and they're trying to find the legendary silver crystal. And they actually believe that Sailor Venus is the Moon Princess. So at first there's a bit of conflict between like she's the princess and then they find out nope, not the princess. So Sailor Moon is the princess, which also is like why did they think Sailor Venus was the Moon Princess and
Because
Sailor
they're
Moon
both
wasn't?
blonde.
Yeah, it's a little stupid, but they needed conflict. So that was another thing. Let's see.
Because like in the original series, they were just all boy crazy for like no reason.
Yeah. Well, and then
Well, I guess because the 90s, but
yeah. So the next series, the Black Moon, which is like Sailor Moon R, that's the one with, and that one honestly is like I don't remember that series. Like I remember the first.
I just remember.
season.
I remember R the movie. I don't remember the R season at all.
Like I don't know why, but I feel like it didn't come out. But
No,
I
it
know
did
it
because
did.
you rented a couple of the VHS tapes at Blockbuster. Remember Blockbuster Kids?
Yeah. I don't, but like as a child, I didn't remember Sailor Moon R that much with the Black Moon arc, but it was actually, I mean, for the most part, like the Black Moon arc was pretty similar. It just was like cutting out a lot of filler, but it actually was pretty close to the story, I will say. But the next season 3 is when it's like, what? Like, so because in the beginning there's like a lot of conflict between Sailor Moon, Sailor Uranus, and Sailor Neptune, and then the inner Sailor Guardians. Our main, our main ones that we've known because these two are being introduced as new characters, and they were actually really reluctant to work with the Sailor Sketch, which was similar in the first one. But then, like when Sailor Moon, like they find out that she's the princess, like their kind of mood changes, and then there's also like this weird they're not weird scene, but like Sailor Moon and Sailor Uranus kiss, and it's like what? Like that wasn't in there at all. Um, and like for the most part, like there's quite a few other differences as well. This one was very different from the original series, I would say, especially too with the how they handled Sailor Saturn too, and
I didn't even remember Sailor Saturn was a thing in the original series.
No,
Like,
it was very different in this one too, which I liked a lot more because you got to know, Hotaru a lot better. Um, and then so after the 3 seasons, they didn't go over well. Unfortunately, like people were really hyped, and those like myself who were really great friends, we stuck around and watched, but not everyone did. Unfortunately, like they kind of killed it with the very flawed animation the first season. And they tried to recover, but unfortunately, I just don't think they could have. But as a respect to the fans, I believe they did at least try and finish it, which is where the next 2 seasons are in movies.
I love that you're holding in your rage by squeezing that stress ball off camera.
I have a stress ball, yes. It's disappointing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just very disappointing when you're so excited for something and they handle it so poorly.
Well, especially because like the first season they did the movie thing was like Super S, and Super S is like arguably like the most interesting season.
Super S is like one of my favorite arcs. Like it's the carnival. So like it's not the Black Moon Carnival. What is it called?
I thought it was the Black Moon Carnival.
No, because the Black Moon is a different one.
All I remember is in the original show, it looked like a tree falling out of the sky.
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember. I'm like brain farting. But I actually really like this one. This is the one with Pegasus. If you guys remember the little unicorn guy, Pegasus guy.
I love it in the movie because he has this really feminine boy voice, but the original anime he had this like deep man voice, and it's so jarring.
Yeah. So for both of these final seasons, they split it up into 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. And so part 1,
Eternal.
Yes, Eternal. So Eternal being it's one part, movie 1, movie 2, and then Cosmos being movie 1, movie 2.
They're basically just one giant movie, though, in reality.
Yeah. So it's just one big movie, but it does have 2 They're pretty long movies.
2 parts.
But after the last incident, the Dead Moon Circus, that's what it
Dead
is.
Moon.
So your next arc is the Dead Moon Circus. And
That is a
one thing
great name for a metal band.
Yes, it is.
Dead Moon Circus.
So one thing I did like a lot more is there was so many more interactions with the Amazon Quartet. And their characters are very interesting because they are the future Sailor Scouts for Sailor Mini Moon and also but Sailor Chibiusa, which is, Sailor Moon's daughter. Which is really cool because it's something that was like I don't remember in the original series. We just kind of thought of them as enemies, but they're actually
we had to
Sailor Scouts.
Well, because in the original series, we had to spend the first half of the series dealing with the animal trio.
Yeah, and the animal trio are still in this one. Just
they get that one little cameo, which was really nice for fans.
Not as prevalent, but it really is more centered around, the Amazon Quartet, and then Zirconia, and then Queen Nelhelania, which is really interesting because in the original series, Queen Nelhelania didn't show up until the very, very end. And it's actually nice because in the Amazon trio, they end up helping the Sailor Scouts in the end as well, which is actually kind of cool. But it's really centered, like, Queen Nelhelania doesn't show up until, like, the very end of the series, like, very last few episodes, and then into the next arc. So it was really different having her presence be a lot sooner. And also, like, the outer Sailor Scouts involvement, too. Like, in the original series, like, Pluto, Neptune, Saturn, they weren't really involved at all. So it was cool seeing them in it as well. But it definitely, with both of these...
Oh, yeah, because they don't appear at all in that season.
No, they don't. So what was really interesting about these two movies is that even though it was a lot of content to cover, it did not nearly feel as rushed as the next one felt.
Oh yeah. Eternal was definitely better paced than Cosmos.
Eternal, for fitting so much content in, I thought they did actually a pretty decent job. It's not perfect. It's not the greatest Sailor Moon movie I've ever seen, but it's much better than Cosmos. We'll just go with that.
My favorite mood whiplash was like the sorceress lady, the older looking one. I forget her name. The one with the one that in the original anime they made a man because they didn't realize it was a woman.
Oh, Zirconia.
Yeah, Zirconia. I love that whiplash was hilarious because as a child I'm so used to the man voice and then it's like, oh, it's actually a lady, and I was like, oh, like that's different.
That's different. And yeah, like it's definitely cool. It was cool seeing more of the dynamic between Chibiusa and Pegasus. Because they meet, but I really enjoyed getting to know the Amazon Quartet more because they were also only introduced later on, and you didn't get to fully, truly kind of get to know them and get to meet them before they end up, because they do appear actually in Cosmos, which is nice. But this one, it wasn't as bad. The pacing was definitely not terrible. Like it was. Especially, we're going to talk about Cosmos in more depth because that's the one we just recently watched. But I don't remember being as like, what the hell?
I did. After we watched, if you want to hear more in depth on our thoughts on Eternal, we actually covered
it. We did talk about that. Yes, so go check out
one of our 3 anime films episodes. I believe it was the 3rd one. So go check out episode 124 if you'd like to hear more about Eternal.
I love that you have it on the wall.
Yes.
So to kind of like close up talking about the series, and I'll have a couple other things to talk about after, but to close up the last entry in the series, it was Sailor Moon Cosmos. And
everybody dies.
Well, yeah, we knew that, but people were so excited about Sailor Moon Cosmos for one particular reason. It came out in the trailers, and that was as the title said, Sailor Moon Cosmos, many people probably didn't even know this form exists, but Sailor Moon does have one final transformation, and it is Sailor Moon Cosmos. It's her in her final form. And we never had the privilege of seeing that animated in the original series. We got that in this one, which was super hype. But unfortunately, I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. These movies fucking sucked.
The
They were
pacing
not-
was fucking horrendous.
The pacing was terrible. Like, horrendous is the best. It was awful. Like, it was almost felt unwatchable.
So
Like, in the first, like, well, I'll talk about, like, the first scene of, like, so Usagi and Marmalade.
Darian.
Darian. We're just gonna call him Darian because I can't say the fucking name. He's going to study abroad, and then he basically proposes to her in the airport. And in the original series, he goes on the plane, and then he basically dies.
This one, he gets yeeted by an asteroid.
He just like he proposes, they're having a moment, and then just suddenly he just like
Asteroid.
dies. Well, no, it's not asteroid. It's the Sailor Galaxia's ability to take
Yeah.
a star seed, and he fucking dies. And she just like it just happens so
He gets
quick.
he gets
that,
yeeted
like-
off of screen, and it's just like, oh, okay.
like you're just like, what the hell just happened? And then like another thing too is like this is her first interaction with the Sailor Starlights, which okay, nice, we got a quick interaction there, but like they just like shove them at each other, and it's just like ugh, like it doesn't work. And
It's like the fandom
bad.
thing. It's like two characters make eye contact, kiss.
no, yeah. So let me see. So what ends up happening is that they end up meeting other Sailor Scouts. They end up meeting other Sailor Scouts from other universes. Because what's happening is that Sailor Galaxia wants to be like the oh, if you heard a little toot noise, it wasn't me, it was my stress ball, I promise you. It wasn't me.
Nobody heard it, and you had to bring attention to it. So now
Well, I
everyone is
don't
gonna
know because I heard it, so I wasn't sure. It makes like wait, maybe I can. Can you hear that?
Yes. Now move on.
All right. See, they know what I'm talking about. Oh yeah. So you meet like the other Sailor Guardians that are from other Sailor Guardian worlds, but the problem is that they kill them off so quickly. You just don't give a shit about them. And like in the original series, they actually did have like somewhat of a personality, and like it was nice to actually get to know them, get to see their personalities, and then like in this one, it's just like, oh, see rat bitch, yeah, she's fucking dead. Oh, see
Yeah,
fish lady,
literally
she fucking dead. Crow lady's dead. Like
any villain in this series, literally once their usefulness was up, they legit just get like slapped off screen and turn into
it's
dust.
not
Like
even, like their usefulness, they're literally revealed and then they're dead. Like at the end of the scene, like you get them for one scene and that's
who was
like,
who was like the one that like literally like shows up and then just gets like swatted away and just gets like turned to dust and just like immediately gone.
I think that was the rat one.
No, it was one of
the.
the later ones when they go to the other planet.
Oh, yeah, there was even more that were just even more forgettable.
Even the sailors, like their death in the original anime was super like tearjerker, like it really fucking like hurt. This one,
Yeah.
they just get fucking yeeted off screen, like yeeted away.
And then this one too, like so they actually get like turned into like against her. And in the original series, they just are dead. Like they don't come back. Like they don't
most-
get turned against Sailor
Most
Moon.
useful thing Tuxedo Mask has done in the entire series.
And also, like, just watching Sailor Moon was also very frustrating. Like, she just like didn't do shit and was just like heavily relying on the Sailor Starlights. And like, I get it, like that's good too, but like, come on, do something. Like,
Also,
get your butt off the ground and do something.
Usagi's mom is the most like accepting, like forgiving person ever because she just lets them into her house. Oh yeah, my daughter's sleeping upstairs. You can go up to her
Yeah,
bedroom.
yeah,
It's
that
like,
was
what?
like what? like,
Like
I mean,
okay,
different time Japan, but and so I will say part one, the first one is almost unwatchable. The first movie in Cosmos was just terrible. Like the phasing was just so bad. Like at the end, we were like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like we both had no idea what was going on.
The pacing was
And,
so
like,
bad, we forgot to mention Chibi Chibi.
Oh yeah, so actually, does she get injured? Yeah, she does. Chibi Chibi, which Chibi Chibi is also interesting too, because in the original series, she's just this little character who's there. We don't really know where she came from or who she is, but she's there. In the manga and in this story, we actually find out that Chibi Chibi is Sailor Moon from the future, and she came back to get the help of past Sailor Moon, because at Sailor Moon Cosmos, she basically says, "I'm a coward and I need help. Please help me." And that's basically it.
Is it
it's her
bad
and
that like the one scene from this movie that I just have vividly remember is after the cats all get like knocked out, and then she's just holding their like
no
arms around, like swinging them around. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's what, because I think all the Sailor Scouts are
Dead.
Yeah, by
Everybody
part two,
fucking dies.
No, yeah, but part 2, she's literally on her own with like
Oh
the
yeah, you were
Starlights.
pissed too because the Starlights also die and get no resolution.
Yeah, that's frustrating too. Well, it's not even that they die and get no resolution. It's that there's no like end scene of like, all right, we're going our separate ways, or like any last connection with like Sailor Moon, because like one of the Starlights like at one point like says like confesses his love to her, which I mean doesn't make any sense because they barely had any screen time in the movie, but he loves her, Seiya. They love her. I'm gonna go with they because I don't know. I mean, he's a man in this world. Like he identifies as a man in this world. Meaning I'm just gonna go with they, just to be safe. They like confess their love to her, and like, and it's like cool. So there's no like closure scene of like them going, like I love you, but I understand that you're in love with someone else, and I'm gonna go my separate ways, but I'll always love you. Like that would have been so nice and touching, and it wasn't there, and it was like, oh, you fucking kidding me. Come on, we want closure. We want the Starlights to be happy.
The movie just fucking ends. That's like the part about it that's the most like baffling.
And then like, but it's also interesting too because like you actually figure out like the ending is also very complicated, way more so in the original series. Like she just defeats Galaxia, and basically like it's saying that Galaxia was possessed by Chaos, which makes a lot more sense. In this one, Galaxia is like working to fight Chaos and like beat Chaos, and like Chaos is his own entity, and it was a lot more confusing. I won't lie, I was like not following it at the end.
Like if you're not a fan of Sailor Moon and someone tries to explain to you the lore of Sailor Moon, they're gonna look at you like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Because Sailor Moon's lore is fucking wild.
Yeah. And it basically ends like the series like Sailor Moon dies, like she dies too, and she becomes part of the cauldron of life. Like it's like I'm not kidding, like this is the actual story. And she gets a choice to either, just be one with the cauldron.
Be one with the world.
or go back to like her life. And of course she chooses to go back to her life. With everyone else. And it literally, all it does is cut to a scene of Usagi and Tuxedo Mask getting married and pledging love, and then it literally ends with that.
Yes.
And that's it. And there's no Starlights. There's no follow-up on all the other people who died.
Yeah, the Starlights never come. We never see them again.
But also, they introduced all these other Sailor Scouts, like all these other Sailor Scouts who were like, also, like, there's one scene that's actually really good. And it shows like the cat girl who like she gets hit with only one shot of the bracelet. So half of her humanity comes back. Like where she gets half white, she's half black. That doesn't sound right. Her costume is half black and the other side is half white. And the white is kind of her pure actual heart intentions. So it was a cool scene to show them of like, like these people are like not actually maybe this happened in the original series. Regardless, though, my point is that like there's no follow-up to any of them as well, and I'm curious to see like all these Sailor Scouts, like they need to go back to their planets or what's left of them, or maybe try and fix what they can, and there was no closure on that. Like
what this movie needed?
What?
It needed a camping trip arc with a guy that makes like vases and smashes them on the ground.
Oh yeah, yeah, we did have that.
And Ray cries in the corner. There's a crying child present. What a
Yeah.
fucking weird filler arc.
Overall, the Cosmos was such a disappointment, but I'm not surprised because it took forever to come out, and I just think that they wanted to just end it so they didn't have to do the series anymore. And it's really disappointing because like this project could have been great. It could have been something that really revitalized the series, but also maybe like brought back Sailor Moon. I don't know, like maybe that was like the plan, and it just like it's so disappointing. I
mean,
wanted to go over some fan, even feedback too from like the fans who watched it. Most people are on the same boat. Is that some people talked about the voice actors. A lot of people it was the animation. Some people really love both. Some people like love that they got to see the manga. Some people didn't. But it's just so disappointing. Like it could have been so much better. And honestly, all you have to do is Google Sailor Moon Crystal failures, like in images, and you can see. Like I'll send a bunch of screenshots to Bill so he can see it. Like, let me send Bill some just so he can truly understand what I'm talking about in terms of how fucking terrible this animation is, and then you can talk on it a little bit as well. And none of these are Photoshop, Bill. I'm not kidding. These are how they actually looked.
Ray, what's going on? Ray, what's going on there?
Describe to the viewers what you're seeing, Bill.
Ooh. Why are her eyes like that?
Don't know.
This is just bad. Well, there's Ooh, yeah.
Dangly arms.
She's a fucking like sleep paralysis demon in that photo.
Sailor Moon. In most of the photos, she's just your sleep paralysis demon.
Her face, they just didn't know how to draw Usagi's face. Apparently, Ray looks drunk in that one.
Why are they doing?
What the? Oh, that's bad.
This one I like to call Yaoi Anime Boy Chin. If you Google the meme, you'll understand what I'm saying. Like
her, not only is the chin bad, but also her mouth is way too high.
Ugh. Oh yeah, can you see why they had to go back and reanimate all of this?
This is like it's not as bad as this, but this reminds me of like when Komi Can't Communicate first came out, because it came out during COVID. There was a lot of they were running on shoestring budgets with animators, so like there was there was a lot of bad like animation.
Don't worry.
Well, Sailor Moon was before COVID, so they have no excuse for this.
Oh no, I meant the Sailor Moon character.
Oh, yeah,
it wasn't just her that was fucked up. Everyone was fucked up.
But I can't. They thought this was acceptable.
No, yeah, it's like insane that this like.
I've seen fan projects that look better than this.
No, and I like this is. This is one of the reasons why it was such a failure, and that's why they had to. Because in the end, the animation.
It doesn't really matter.
Well, yes, but like this is just to show you what it ended up looking like. What were they doing?
They weren't, clearly.
Like, it's just like such poor animation. Like it truly did kill the series, and it's crazy. Oh, this one's good too. I'll send you this one. Anyway, I can post some in the server as well. When this comes out, I'll post them in the.
Why does she? What? She's a noodle person.
Yeah, she looks like those dolls that like are like the something spaghetti, like Yeti spaghetti.
She looks like a fucking zombie's about to like fucking suck his soul out. Like what the? Ew.
Like the animation was it was so poor. It was so.
This is not how anatomy works. Not at all.
Um,
She looks like Sonic from Sonic 06 with his fucking noodle arms flopping around.
No, yeah, it was bad. Like, it was just...
Hey, but on the plus side, though, the one plus is, out of this, well, this show was pretty bad. Well, it was up and down, I should say. it got us a re-release of the original series with a better dub and like an actual like no editing, like the actual what it should have been from the start.
No, and I will agree. It was great to see, like, it was great to see the story. I just wish they did it right. Oh, I forgot about this.
Why are the eyes all like lopsided? Like, ew.
I don't know. Chibi User
Why,
has a
why does
gun.
why does Chibi have a gun?
Why not? Why doesn't she have a gun?
That's a reaction image right there.
I honestly, it should be. If it's not, it should be. Trying to see if there's any really bad ones. I mean, these were some of the worst, but I mean, the fact that there's this one's bad. Oh my god. Why is there fucking face like that?
Okay. So we've got everyone here except for Venus. Is there a fucked up Venus to like?
There probably is. Anal beads.
Context, please.
Her weapon. Everyone jokingly called it like our original weapon. It was like this bunch of beads on her waist, and everyone would call it that. And I just remember it vividly. Sorry,
You should have said that part first. And not...
No, that would be funnier. See, and this picture is just to show you that was her original weapon. Just a bunch of beads.
Oh.
I'm not kidding. Oh, this is Ray looking good right here. Damn.
What did they do?
Damn. That's a sexy lady.
I'm not even gonna comment on that. Yeah. So
terrible.
Overall, your thoughts are this was a massive disappointment, I'm guessing?
Well, I mean, it was a massive failure. I mean, the fact that the last three didn't even get a full-on animated series, and they ended up just getting movies that were, one was fine, and then one was just awful. Like, I'm sorry, like, anyone who says Cosmos was good is lying. Like, the pacing was terrible, and it just, like, honestly, I went back and rewatched the original one to give me a better taste of the series in my mouth, and like, it just sucks. Like, it's disappointing that, one of my favorite series, part of my childhood, I was so excited for it, and I was greatly disappointed. But I wanted to talk, well, we originally were going to do like a movie swap or just talk about the movies, but I thought this would be, as it's the final one, it'd be a good closing to just talk about the Sailor Moon Crystal series in general, and just how much of a downfall it went from so much hype to this sucks.
Yeah, this is why, like, when I'm seeing all these remakes recently coming out, it's like I know, like, the one I'm kind of excited for is the Ranma reboot, just to give us that story like completely. But then there's been a lot of discourse going on now where people are like, "Ooh, if Ranma's getting a remake, does that mean Inuyasha's getting a remake?" And I'm just sitting there going, "Please don't. It's fine the way it is."
Yeah. I wonder if they would redo Inuyasha, if it would be like cut out the filler and do like similar of just the main storylines, because there was a good amount of filler.
There was, but the filler wasn't that bad. Honestly, yeah. I think the series would be more boring without the filler, because the filler is some of the more interesting stuff. Like a lot of the most iconic scenes in the anime are from the filler arcs. A lot of people don't realize that.
So they should just leave it alone, is what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, final act is like the one part that could be redone, just because it was kind of.
But that's the newest one, so it's silly to redo it. So they should just leave the series alone.
Yeah, I don't want a Inuyasha remake. It's too new, and it's like fine, but that's for another podcast entirely.
Yes.
But yeah, watch the original Sailor Moon anime. It's all on Hulu, and it's done.
I would say if you're going to watch one over the other, watch the original.
And then read the manga.
Watch it and really enjoy it, watch Sailor Moon Crystal. But just be prepared. It's going to be different. And the last movie sucks.
It ends on a wet fart. Yes.
Can you
so that? Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if I can make it.
You're going to blow that thing up and I'm going to laugh so hard.
I haven't yet. I was trying to make a fart noise.
exactly. Anyways, so yes. But anyways, guys, once again, thanks for joining us on the Gaming and Collecting Podcast. The Gaming and Collecting Podcast can be found on all your major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. And be sure to check us out over on the Superpod Network. That is superpodnetwork.com.
I haven't
It is
been
a
on in a while. I should
it is
go
a
on there.
yeah, it is a very awesome site featuring a whole bunch of different podcasters, including Superpod
It's coming soon. Get ready.
including Superpod Saga, Super Ghost Radio, Retro Rehab, A Novel Console, Bar Silence, Tommy's Video Game Ride Along, Fine Time, Gaming Together, The Elder Trolls, Remember 64, Friday Night Gamecast, and all of the GNC shows. I'm pretty sure I got everybody there. And yeah, you can also there's also a bunch of blogs and video stuff there as well. It's an awesome site. Check it out.
No, there ain't. No,
And on that note, everybody, we will see you all later.